This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up Effective Communication, the show focused on communication skills in the auto repair industry. I'm your host, Craig O'Neill, and our episode today, we are going to be discussing an acronym that I struggle with. And I know what our listeners are thinking. We are the auto repair industry. We are masters of acronyms. We have MAF, TPS, TPMS, ATF, PCS, TCC. We even developed new words to abbreviate certain acronyms like TECM, ADOS, and who remembers this one? Prindle. One of the only words I know with no vowels. True story. It's also a horrible name for an NSS, by the way. No, the acronym today that I want to discuss isn't actually auto repair industry acronyms. It's the acronym K.I.S.S. K.I.S.S. I've always heard this one explained as keep it simple, stupid. And when communicating with others, this does become an important skill. Keeping it simple, keeping it simple, keep it simple, stupid. Now, particularly when we as specialists in our industry are talking with others, we tend to need this reminder because we certainly don't have anything simple to communicate on vehicles today. It's pretty complex. Before I go any further, I want to go and introduce the word of today as well. And I'm going to have some fun with this one because it's a little related to this topic and some feedback I've received. And what I'm going to introduce is the word esoteric. Now, I'm going to share the definition for this word after a word from our sponsors who make this show possible. Looking to take your shop to the next level of quality service, team culture, and overall profitability? At the Institute, we provide personalized coaching that aligns with your goals of financial stability, excellent customer service, and employee satisfaction. Our priority is helping you establish significant and sustainable progress. We work with you to create strategies that reduce the stress of running your business, improve your quality and performance, and optimize your profitability. Experience the benefits of professional coaching by visiting wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. Hey friends, as you know, I'm a proud member of the AutoFlow team, and let me tell you, we've changed how business is done for auto shops everywhere. We support your client experience before, during, and after the work is done. Imagine this. Timely updates sent directly to your clients, branded digital vehicle inspections, and seamless communication from start to finish. That's why shops love AutoFlow. And hey, with those 5-star reviews rolling in, you'll wonder how you ever managed without us. Take an important next step and take your auto shop to the next level. Visit www.autoflow.com. Get on board with an AutoFlow trial. Are you ready to meet your perfect auto repair shop management software partner? Well, say farewell to the days of transactional relationships and hello to a true partnership that elevates your business. The number one all-in-one solution is AutoLeap. You're not just getting software, you're gaining a dedicated ally committed to your success. AutoLeap will help you sell more, save time, and delight your customers at every turn. From scheduling appointments to creating estimates, generating invoices, managing technicians, and seamlessly syncing with QuickBooks to keep your records updated, experience the difference a true partnership makes. Visit AutoLeap.com and book a demo today. AutoLeap, your trusted partner for success. Want to see your auto repair shop thrive? Are you looking to drive more customers to your auto repair shop? Let ShopDog Marketing be your guide. Our customer-first approach, combined with AI-driven creative content, ensures top rankings. Dominate mobile first and voice search with our specialized expertise. Reach out to ShopDog Marketing today and start growing your business. Don't miss out on this chance to boost your business. Visit shopdogmarketing.com. Inbound has exclusively served independent auto repair shops with expert communication solutions for years. Our robust VoIP platform ensures you stay connected while our industry-leading AI analytics take your business to the next level. We provide the tools you need to understand your customers and optimize every interaction. Choose Inbound for proven expertise and unmatched innovation. Visit callinbound.com and discover the difference we can make. Okay, we're back with K.I.S.S, the acronym, not the band, not the romantic expression. A reminder to keep it simple, stupid. Our word of the day is esoteric. It's an adjective. It's used to describe something intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with specialized knowledge or interests. As I looked at that word, I enjoyed looking up words. I think some of you know that about me by now. And this one had Greek origins, and I learned that the Greek root in the word actually means inner. So this word basically has to do with inner knowledge like within our industry, something esoteric. If we're communicating in a certain way that's intended for a small group of people in our inner circles, what about those on the outside of those circles, or who may just feel like they're on the outside of the circles when we start using our terminology that they just don't understand at all? And when we speak over people's heads, that can be a real problem. If we do try to explain technical matters to clients in terms that are familiar to us, I like to think that we're not just trying to impress them. I do, however, feel like sometimes that's absolutely totally what I've done. You can really baffle some people with some terminology these days. And sometimes for those that are curious about things, it's nice to show off a little bit, but no, it's not. You are not impressing people. We are not gaining influence. In fact, I'm absolutely certain of the fact that we are losing influence. The more confusing things get, the more people are not engaging with your message, or you for that matter. So as communicators, we really do need to develop our communication skills to aim and tailor our messages towards a broader audience. If you're like me and you think this is easy, and you will habitually and probably very quickly go into your next interaction and overcomplicate the crap out of everything you're trying to say. Why? And I make this point a lot, but I really do believe that if we are continually doing that, it's because we aren't actually thinking about others first. We're thinking about ourselves more and how we want to be perceived as intelligent or smart in our walk of life or whatever it is that we're discussing. And I would ask the question of, if we're doing that, have we actually taken enough time to get to know who it is that we are communicating to ourselves? And I think that where we fall victim to this, where I certainly know I do, is we get very accustomed to the language of the things that we're interested in. We're immersing ourselves in it. In our profession, we are immersed in a certain language every single day, day in, day out. It dominates our conversations. It absolutely does. I'll use this example. I train people a lot on my day-to-day work. I train people a lot on digital inspections. I have a course coming up I'm looking forward to at Vision in Kansas City later on this year. We'll see this slide. I'll sneak peek this for you here, at least explain it to you. One of the things that I love to do in that class is I put a picture up on the screen of a stabilizer link. I don't label the part in any way. I just ask the people in the room a simple question. I ask them this: how many of your clients know what this is? Forces the question is really deliberate. It because I know the tendency of everyone in the room is, oh yeah, it's a stabilizer link. I know it is a sway bar link. Okay, yeah. I expect everyone in the room to know that part very specifically because we sell those things like hotcakes in this industry. It doesn't matter if you're a tire shop or anything else. These things are super, super common. I, as a transmission specialist, there hardly a day went by where those things weren't having to be addressed because of rusty Michigan weather, especially. It's a wonderful climate. But here's the thing. What I found myself doing for a large portion of my career as an advisor is that we make the mistake of talking about that item as though our clients deal with it daily as well. And they don't. There's another point of failure on this too. That's just one point. During a sales process, or when you're explaining inspection items, or anything like this, clients don't know what it is. By the way, I think I've mentioned this before, but I ask people what they picture. Sometimes when you have a good client that you can have a little more fun with, it's like, what do you picture when I say the word stabilizer link? And they'll probably tell you something interesting. And it's cool to have those sort of conversations to gain better insight into what people think about the terms that we're using. But here's the other point of failure. We overcomplicate things on the final invoice as well, that printed form. In Michigan, where I'm from, we have to, by law, itemize invoices. That is, every item that went into the service is on that invoice. So it makes like 3-page invoices are very common. They're lengthy and they're difficult to read. That's a little bit less of an issue than the fact that there's really just no clear common language summary on an invoice that makes any sense to the average person to help them understand what it was that we were looking at, what it is we did to address it. I've seen this time and time again where people bring me invoices from a dealership and they asked me to make sense out of it and help them understand what the dealer was. I need an hour and a half to just spend some time trying to figure out what the heck this thing says. They're confusing. You know this with your own utility bills or maybe a financial statement. If you don't have an awesome accountant guy like Hunt Demarest with Business by the Numbers in his program, that stuff's hard to read for those of us who are not immersed in that world. Same stuff for us. This isn't an industry that's recognized for our intelligence and our sophistication and the knowledge that we contain. But I come from this industry from birth in my family's transmission shop, growing up with this. And I just have this perspective of automotive technicians as some of the smartest people I've ever lived and worked among. That isn't the impression. And I think we have to make up for it. And many times it's the bottom line is this: you do have to break things down simply, even on that final form, or adjust our entire checkout process entirely. That's a whole separate topic we can definitely go into. But I will say this, I absolutely rail against AI in so many cases, not because of a lack of appreciation for the technology, but I will say this, in our era, AI absolutely doesn't suck at summarizing things. I think you can take a really complicated thing and have it simplify it very easily. And that's the kind of prompt that I would find myself using AI for if I didn't have some natural tendencies to try to avoid it out of pride and ego. But no, hey, I'll say this, ChatGPT, here's a prompt suggestion for you folks. Feed it a paragraph and say, make this paragraph, whatever it is that you're feeding it, less esoteric. There, we got our word of the day in, right? I think it'd be a good prompt. Make this less esoteric. Beautiful, right? But here's the thing, being esoteric, having a tendency to do that, I am making this mistakes in every walk of life. As an instructor, building slide presentations, as a parent, just discussing terminology with my kids that I think maybe they know this word, but I use it like they do, and they don't ask me if they don't. And yes, as a podcaster, if I'm bringing in a topic that all of a sudden is going way beyond where individuals might be at on their journey for communication or their experience even in this industry, that's something that we have to be aware of. And what's really sad about it for me is, as I look back at feedback I've received over my time in podcasting as a service advisor, as an adult, as a student, I have had amazing teachers at key intervals early in my life who've been constantly citing the acronym K.I.S.S, keep it simple, stupid, or teaching me principles very specifically related to it. And there's three areas where this has been formative for me. And I want to share a little bit about that. One is my sensei early in my life. The second is my high school journalism teacher, Mr. Johnson, back at Forest Hills Northern. Great guy. I got to go say hello to that dude sometime. He was great. And then third would be my boss, Chris Cloutier here at AutoFlow. He's been instrumental in encouraging me on my communication journey. And there's some points I want to make on each one. The first thing, my sensei early on, middle school age, a little younger even, my dad got us into martial arts at a young age. We were definitely, I'm pretty sure this may be true, maybe not. I think our transmission shop is absolutely the only one in the United States that has a dojo directly next door, owned by the same people who own that transmission shop. If you have a transmission shop and there's a dojo next door, I am asking you, please take a picture of that and email that to me later. I'm convinced otherwise until proven otherwise. We're the only one. So the karate background was significant. Actually, the earlier, before my dad was my sensei, we both had our sensei, short Polish guy, Sensei Gene. He was great, but that's the first place in my young memory where I remember hearing this acronym, and it's a relevant piece in the martial arts community. When you go in and you're new in that world, it is super intimidating. You walk in and there's the katas that are going, that's the forms that the sort of like people would liken it to a dance sequence. It is not dance. It is not, but it is a sequence of movements that are precise, and the group will do that together while counting is occurring. And if you're new in the group and you're lined up in back and everybody in front of you is moving on the count in Japanese, ich, ni, san, everyone's moving the same techniques for that particular kata at the same time, you are lost. They are counting in a language you don't recognize. They are moving in a way you are completely unfamiliar with, and you don't know what the heck is what. Now, martial arts community is obviously very good at bringing people up, and that starts with fundamentals, pinyan katas, some of the basic katas that you would do. They're all about making sure those initial techniques are easy to memorize, and just through sheer repetition as a group counting off, you begin to learn it. And wow, what do you know? Someday you're just not that guy that's new anymore, and there's someone else new, and you have to have the ability to help them understand as well. So the karate background really should reinforce this skill for me. I think I should fail less at remembering this as a result. Yeah, martial arts, great exercise. But the second thing was in journalism. Journalism in high school for me was my main focus. Our shop class was not where they put the good students, and I generally didn't like that crowd that ended up in the shop class, and I didn't need it. We had the transmission shop anyway, but I enjoyed journalism and some of the business classes. And in journalism, they teach you a very important skill that is very real. Journalists today still use it. Magazine articles are written this way, blog posts, anything. You may have heard this before, but what they tailor articles to is an 11th grade education. Scholarly articles and books and things that you'll hit in college, those things are going to be a little different, but general news article is very accessible on purpose so that it can reach a broader audience. And that's definitely something I would say your digital inspections, your final invoice, the conversations that you're having, the language that you're using when you're working with the general public day in, day out until you get to know otherwise. Yeah. Aim for that 11th grade education level. That's perfectly good. The problem with that is, and I was joking with one of my friends who was giving me some feedback recently, Bob Leonard, is like, in the email, I was like, the problem with this, the idea of speaking or writing to an 11th grade education is it has now been long enough. I forgot what it was, where the knowledge of an 11th grader actually is. Thank goodness I have teenagers now. They can kind of remind me, but school's different. That was a while ago, but you get the idea. It's for someone who's not quite finished high school. Enough said. Keep that simple. Now, the third thing, though, I will say my boss, Chris, is awesome at this, and he will repeat himself ad nausea for me. And I think he's probably convinced I'm a slow learner on this point. But Chris is awesome because what he did early on when I joined him with AutoFlow, then Auto text me. Actually, it might have been AutoFlow. We're AutoFlow now. We're good. Names are easy. Now, he brought me into, it was actually ASA, Pennsylvania Super Saturday. It was ASA at the time when we were doing this. It's now ACA. Work some new acronyms into this episode. I love this. But I remember because he gave me a couple slides for me to express what I could on. It was related to the topics that we typically discuss. It was definitely something on DBI. What I do remember is I had 2 slides. So what do you think I did with 2 slides? Oh, this was the ugliest slide. I wonder if I have that thing. I should look this up. It was a horrible slide. It was crammed with pictures and images and things I was trying to do. He only gave me 2 slides. What was I supposed to do? I had a lot to say. Point is, this is a struggle for anyone in the instructor line of work. And when you're doing presentations and events and training, if you're just doing a team meeting, building slides is a skill set that's worthy of its own episode of some of the skills we need for slide building. Most people have a tendency to build very meaty, heavy slides, and that is over complicated. The simpler you can make a slide in a slide deck, the better off you're going to be, and so will your audience. It just needs to aid what you're saying. So that's definitely a topic we're going to dive into a little further. But Chris is just one of those guys that's constantly reminding people to keep things simple, keep it simple, and it helps for onboarding new behaviors as well as anything else. Where I'll wrap this up is I get to experience this regularly in Toastmasters. This week, actually just last night, I had the opportunity to evaluate a speech by Evan Wisner, a frequent guest on the podcast. We have some other episodes coming up that I'm looking forward to doing with Evan. So it was really cool. I love getting to do an evaluation in the speaking format of our Toastmasters Club. And we had 30 plus people in our meeting, lots of guests, and we had 3 speeches that night. And this is important and relevant to this topic because the 3 speeches were Evan, and then we had another member who's given a couple of speeches now, and we had another member who is giving their icebreaker speech. So you had a wide range of speaker skills in those 3 speeches. That's interesting because in a Toastmasters meeting, when you're doing the evaluations on the speech, you have to think about how the evaluators are going to deal with each one. You don't get an evaluation as a beginner the same way Evan's going to get an evaluation. You're going to get an evaluation that's based on your entry point, where you're at. And Toastmasters is really, really good about keeping it simple, a simple grow and glow for anyone that's giving a speech like that. And if you can break it down into something that they can walk away with, that's something they get to walk away with, come back with, and then you stack on something after that. This whole sequence is really a beautiful thing when it's done well. When it's overcomplicated, it can become intimidating. And you can bet that if someone gives their first speech and they get a really complicated or very harsh or very technical evaluation, good chance they're probably not going to feel very comfortable applying that stuff or giving another speech to that club. But hey, I'll wrap this topic up real simple with a quote from Albert Einstein. You have to. He's brilliant. No, this isn't an esoteric quote. This is a quote I think we can all relate with. I think Albert Einstein nailed it. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Something to chew on. So, hey, what do you do to keep things simple for your clients? I'd love to have you tell me about that. And hey, give me any feedback as well. Anything that you have to say to me, send it to speakup@CraigO'Neill.net. That's ONEILL in O'Neill. Net. Speakup@CraigO'Neill.net. I appreciate hearing from you on anything that's helping you, something you want to learn more about, or just communication topics that you're interested in. I frankly would love to hear about topics you'd love to bring on the show. If you want to become a guest yourself, feel free to reach out. And remember to listen up to the other shows on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Remarkable Results Radio, the one that started it all with Carm Capriato, Diagnosing the Aftermarket A through Z with Matt Fonslow, Esoteric Technician, if there ever was. No, Matt's a great friend. He's wonderful. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with him on the podcast here as well. Business by the Numbers with Hunt Demarest. I mentioned him earlier, and I'll say it again. Financial language, that's an area that I need experts and I need their guidance on. Hunt's one of those guys. You can listen to that podcast and you will consistently build your vocabulary in that area of the numbers. Really worth it. And the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast, another area. I'm not an expert in marketing. I have my own ideas, but Brian and Kim, experts, listen to them. And the Weekly Blitz, Coach Chris Cotton. I love it. His takeaway is really well crafted. If you haven't listened to his show before, strongly encourage you to listen to it. He has a wonderful way of breaking things down, super concise. We've done some webinars with him in the past as well. Chris is wonderful. And I have to say thank you again to our sponsors. Thank you for joining us as loyal listeners as well. Now, I will say, get out there, listen up, speak up, kiss a lot. See, I should have done this as a Valentine's Week episode. That would have been great. Keep it simple out there, folks. Thank you.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Craig on your favorite podcast listening app and on his YouTube channel. Let him know what you'd like him to speak up about. Craig is all for advancing the automotive service aftermarket.